Okay, good afternoon. We're going to have a little look now at our next Leaving Certificate topic related to carbohydrates, and that's fruit and veg, pulses and nuts. So I'm not going to go through all of the slides because we had a look at them this morning. So just the main ones there in terms of, first of all, the classification of fruit. So just watching here that you know the category of fruit and then that you're able to tell me a couple of examples. So citrus fruits have the segments. For example, lemons, grapefruits, oranges, limes. Berries are straightforward. Hard, apples and pears. Stone, obviously have a stone inside, like a plum or a peach. Dried and other. Now, moving into the composition. Okay, so the main things we can look here at all fruits, very low in protein, and if they have any, it's low biological value, and very low or virtually no fat. So great for slimmers, great for people with cholesterol, great for people with heart disease, great for anybody really. Okay, vitamin A then is found in most fruits, but particularly the orange, yellow, red coloured fruits like your melons and your peaches and your apricots, because the vitamin A gives them their colour. It's an orange yellow oil. B group and then C. So C particularly in your black currants and your citrus fruits for your gums, okay? And a small amount of calcium and iron. So just going through that, we have LBV protein, lack fat. If there is fat, it's polyunsaturated. Then we have sugar, starch, fibre and pectin. Sugar, starch, so starch in underripe fruit converts to sugar, and then as the fruit gets riper, it gets sweeter. Fibre in the skin and pectin in the cell wall also for helping your jam to set. Okay, and then moving on down here, then we'll go on to vitamins. Okay, so as we said, vitamin C and then vitamin A in our orange and red coloured fruits. Okay, and A is your growth vitamin. It's your eyes, skin, growth and membranes. Small amount of calcium and iron, and it's non-heme iron, and then a high proportion of water, and obviously less in dried fruit. Now, moving into the classification of veg. Okay, so I'll allow you to read that yourself. Green, flower, root and tuber. Bulb, fruit, stem, pulse and fungi. And your pulses are your peas, beans and lentils. And don't forget your soybean is there, your high biological value protein. Okay? So that's your vegetable that has HBV protein. Then moving into the composition, so you'll see here very little protein, but your pulse vegetables have the most because there's your soybean. Okay, the rest have LBV if they have any. Soybean has HBV. Very little fat, small amount of polyunsaturated in your soybean again, and that's very good for you. And then everything else is self-explanatory. Vitamin A, then the orange yellow oil, that's in your carrot for your eyesight. B and C vitamins and a small amount of calcium and iron. Okay, so the dietetic value here, just watching, and you can use your book to reinforce this. Whose diet and why? Okay, plus economy and versatility. They're versatile, they can be eaten raw, they're available in a variety of forms and types, fresh, processed, etc. Okay, I'm not going to go through the buying and storing because there's nothing really new there. Okay, just watching when you're preparing fruit that you don't use a blunt knife because it will release an enzyme that oxidase that will destroy the vitamin C. So a sharp knife always. Then looking there at slide 18, when we're talking about processing fruit, whether it's the canning or the freezing or the irradiation, make sure that when you're talking about the effects, that you talk about the effects on the colour, the flavour, the texture, the nutritive value and the bacteria. For example, what's the effects of canning on strawberries? Okay, so how does it affect the colour, the flavour, the texture, the nutritive value, the bacteria. Okay? Now, so look here at freezing. Now, I'm going to go through the process and the underlying principle with that, and I want you to take it down as well. Then the effects, you refer to the colour, flavour, texture, nutritive value and microorganisms, and then know some examples. So this is for fruit and veg. So fruit and veg can be frozen by commercial blast freezing at -30 degrees Celsius or by being blanched at home So that's plunged into boiling water and then into ice cold water to stop cooking, and then home frozen at -25. So that's important. Now, the underlying principle there would be moisture converts to ice, so microorganisms cannot grow. The food is sealed to prevent re-entry of microorganisms, and the cold temperature does not allow microorganisms to respire. So they are not killed, but they are inactivated. So that's important to say there under the process as well. So the underlying principle is, how does this actually work as a method of preservation? How does it stop the growth of microorganisms? So you go through what microorganisms need to grow: food, warmth, moisture, oxygen, time, and pH, and see is anything affected. Obviously, oxygen is eliminated as well when you freeze. Okay, so they cannot grow. Once any of those conditions are altered, microbes cannot grow. Now, looking at the canning, so we'll do the underlying principle here as well. So first of all, the process: fruit and vegetables are placed in sterile cans, sealed and heated to high temperatures. They may be canned in brine, which is salt and water, so that will increase the sodium, spring water or sauce. Now, if it's canned fruit, that can be canned in a syrup, which is sugar and water, and that will increase the calories as well. Now, let's look and see the underlying principle here, which you need to write down as well. So, canning, the high temperatures kill bacteria and microbes. Okay, the can is sealed to prevent re-entry of microbes. If something is canned in brine or syrup, then osmosis will work, and that will dehydrate the bacterial cell. Okay, and the bacteria are destroyed. Right, and then there is no oxygen in your can as well, so oxygen is eliminated. Right, the effects then, you're referring to colour, flavour, texture, nutritive value. Okay, and don't forget to mention here that the calorie content changes if there is sugar used in a syrup, or if it's canned in brine, sodium content increases. Okay. And then you have dehydration. So we're just going to have a look here. Fruit and vegetables have their moisture content removed. This can be completed by fluidized bed drying or accelerated freeze drying or sun drying, as in a sun-dried tomato. So let me go through the underlying principle there. So first of all, the moisture is removed, so therefore microorganisms cannot grow. Okay, so they're destroyed. Right, oxygen is removed, so they cannot grow. Okay, and I don't know if I said it with freezing, so you might want to go back to freezing. I'm not sure if I said it, but the warmth is removed here. So the warmth is removed in freezing, so they cannot grow. I possibly did say it, but please add it in if I didn't. So back to our dehydration. Then you have the effects. Okay. And then you have your examples of dried peas there, or dried grapes, which are called raisins. Okay, dried banana, dried tomatoes, like a sun-dried tomato. Okay. Now, irradiation. Fruit and vegetables are exposed to low levels of gamma rays, and you need to know that. Okay. And know the effects, and then the examples of what foods that can be irradiated. Now, ripening, we'll just have a quick look at. So, enzymic action. Fruit goes from underripe, like a green banana, to ripe, yellow, to overripe, yellow with black parts, and decayed, black. Unripe fruit has a high content of starch, and it is practically inedible and unappealing because it's hard and it's not sweet. But once ripe, fruit will stay wholesome for a limited time before decay sets in. So the starch converts to sugar. The starch converts to fructose, and then the fruit softens as well, and it's worth noting that. Note that the flavour changes, starch converts to sugar, and note that the texture changes as the fruit softens upon ripening. Okay, so there you have the grading of fruit and veg, so the class extra, class 1 and class 2. And organic, okay, grown without the use of any fertilizers, which are artificial pesticides or artificial preservatives, and they do tend to be more expensive. Okay, right, and then just down to pulses. There was just a little bit on pulses on its own. Okay, LBV, but the soybean, which is a vegetable, it's a pulse vegetable, is HBV. So just a little bit about these on their own. Soybeans have polyunsaturated fat. So this is recapping really. Okay, non-heme iron again, and a small amount of calcium. And then your nuts, which are a great source of fiber and a great source of protein. LBV protein, polyunsaturated fat, which is very good for you, and fiber. So very healthy, great for snacks, great addition to main course dishes like a vegetable and nut risotto, for example. Okay, so the dietetic value is there, low biological value, protein, fiber, etc. So don't forget whose diet and why. And then you have the economy and versatility here. And then culinary uses of pulses and nuts, what they can be used in savoury dishes, soups, dips, and then nuts used in garnishes, as a garnish, salads, savoury dishes, so that's something that's not sweet, and desserts. Okay, so that finishes that chapter for you. So I'm going to upload this now, and you write in the extra little bits, and then please use your book to reinforce. Once you have your notes written out, use your textbook to reinforce, add in the extra little bits that you may not have, and then tackle into your booklet and your exam questions. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.